life? What do we focus on? What do you want to do? What's your life going to be like? We're going to have some stories, and we're going to have the whiteboard. I have done this in a previous video, but I wanted to share this in a little bit more detail. This. That is the year you were born, and in this example, we are just going to use me. 1972, the year I was born. What year were you born? I've lived a lot of life. Let's carry on. You know what that is? The year I'm gonna die. What year will you die? If you look at my old video, I don't think I thought I was going to live as long. But I think 110 is a possibility. I'm 52, so damn near halfway. What about you? How long do you think you're going to live? That is supposed to be a straight line. No, I have not been drinking. What is the year? The year is 2024. Let's find it on the line. The dotted line is halfway through your life. That is where we are right now. And if all goes as planned, I will live to be 110 years old. Now, that is about halfway. Not quite exact math, but close enough that you get the point. Born in 1972. 25 years old in 1997. 2024, 52. Now, what do you think the end of life is going to be like? I really don't think at 98 I will be out doing marathons. I'm sure it's possible that there is a 98-year-old that has done it, but that isn't what I will likely want to be doing. So I am going to take off probably the last 15 years. In essence, we're going to call that just the end of life. That is my wizard years. For now, it's difficult to compete with all the competing voices in the world. So it's hard to, it's hard to, there are a lot of things I do not know, but there are a lot of things I do know that I did not know when I was 25 in 1997. 25 years later, actually 30 years later, it is 2024. So, let me put on here when I started working. That was my sophomore year in high school. I was 16, and I started working in fast food, Ponderosa. But notice something about the beginning and the end of life. Glory and glory. Now, many children don't have wonderful childhoods, and for that, it's a shame. Many old folks don't ever get to see those days. Some people die at work, some people have heart attacks just out of nowhere. You know, it's very difficult. Only 1 in 5,000 people live to be 100. 1 in 5,000. So, there will likely not be 5,000 people watch this video, maybe 2,600. Of the 2,600 people watching this, including myself, half of us, only one half of us, will live to be 100. We need 5,000 people for just one of us. That's how hard it is to do. Very, very difficult to live to be 100. So not very many people get this. So this chart is like a fantasy. It's a lottery ticket. But I think I got it. And part of the process is that if you think you can, you will. You have to have that. We're going to talk about beating disease with the mind in another video. But let us not get off topic. So, my childhood was not what I would call glorious, but I would say it was acceptable, almost comfortable. That is the way I describe it. I wasn't horribly, I was spanked, but I was not beat. So I was punished when I was a child, but not what I would call abuse. And we were poor, but I was happy poor. You know, I didn't really understand that it was necessary to have money, and I wasn't the one trying to get the money. It was my dad. So he was just supporting me, making sure I had food and clothes. They weren't nice, but I was clothed. The food wasn't great, but it got me here. So you have to find the reasons to be grateful. You know? But as I got older, I knew that I needed money. I knew that my family was poor. Eventually, I was enlightened to the fact that this is how the world works, and you need money to survive. it was an extreme revelation, and I think it was an impactful moment when I realized it at a young age. Probably 14, 15 is when I felt those initial feelings, like it was all coming to me. I don't think it, even 12, 13 years old, I really was self-conscious about image. But it likely happened around the time that I was starting to want girls and things like that. I'm like, okay, my mind's thinking, obviously it's attracted to girls, and then I think, how do I get one? And I learn the ways of the world, and I start to be more educated about life and how it works. So I began to have the thoughts about money at that time, and I associated money with happiness. And so I became focused, and that was what I was going to do. I was going to work. So I went to work in 1988. And I worked there until my junior year when I got a job at a carpet cleaning company. I worked at the Ponderosa Steakhouse, and then I got a job at a carpet cleaning company, and there was a 28-year-old guy at the time that owned his own company. He owned this carpet cleaning company, and he cleaned like restaurants after they would close, banks when they closed, like he did commercial work, like office buildings, those types of things, car dealerships, and we were basically the carpet cleaners. And he also had a janitorial part of the company, but I was working for the carpet cleaning part. It was a great job. He taught me a lot. He was a young entrepreneur, and I watched him, and I studied him, and I asked him questions, and I wanted to be like him. And it was I would say that was a lucky break early in my life to have been introduced to him. Many men, boys, don't get lucky enough to meet someone like that. They may, but now you can watch them on the internet, so I don't feel too sorry for you. You can watch people like me. You can see people online, lots of successful people. So you found a way, but now I think more people get the opportunity. But face-to-face and a personal connection, that's hard to not accept that was a lucky break for me. So, especially given the area that I was in. But as I worked there, it became clear that there was only a certain level of money that I could make cleaning carpet or managing a janitorial crew. I could never make more than the guy that owns the company, right? Not if I worked for him. So I knew that it was at that point that I started to look at companies like an umbilical cord. So like the company is there's a name for it might be placenta. The company is the placenta, and it is, you are hooked up to it with an umbilical cord. They pretty much own part of you. They own the large part of your waking hours, Monday through Friday, or 7 days a week, or however your schedule is, but they own a large part of you. But it also funnels to you. It's a trade. You're connected to it. You have to be there at whatever time they tell you to be there, and you cannot leave until they tell you you can leave. But in exchange, they are going to funnel money to you. So, imagine. I didn't mean to give myself a large private area. It just happened. But this little circle here is the placenta, and this is the umbilical cord. And it's hooked up to me, and that was the little tiny carpet cleaning company that was feeding me money. Now, had I been smart, that was the Ponderosa restaurant that I was connected to. But you know what? I hated that job. money than the owner of the carpet cleaning company. So my smart thinking as a young man was, I will go where the placenta is bigger. So when I was working for the carpet cleaning company, one of the jobs that we cleaned was called United Technologies Carrier. It is a big multinational corporation that manufactures furnaces. This particular division of United Technologies was United Technologies Carrier, and Carrier was a brand of furnaces. But at that factory we also produced Bryant furnaces, air conditioners as well, and a brand called Day and Night, and a brand called Payne. But it was a massive corporation. But I was entering into the factory level. So we are probably right around this mark at the time. And the challenge there was that it was a union organization, and it was, it had corruption. I had ran for a position in the union. It was an elected position, and so the assembly line gets to vote, like everybody gets handed a vote. It is a fair system. Well, I won the election. It was a small entry-level position into the union, and it was announced that I won. But by the end of the shift, they had said that they had made a mistake, and they took it away from me. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And I just felt like I felt like I was betrayed, and I knew it was the corruption of the union. And I couldn't stay. So at that point, I really began like knowing, like, okay, this isn't it. Yes, it's a big umbilical cord, a big placenta, but I don't care. I can't absorb the pride. Like, nobody made a big deal out of it. Nobody was like, I mean, there were people that came up to me and like said, I can't believe that happened, and I voted for you, and I had support, but it wasn't like anybody made a big deal out of what they did. And of course, inside I was raging. I wanted to, but I couldn't. So mentally, I just said, okay, let me just get out. This environment is not for me. And the things that I had heard about the mafia type organizations that unions are, some are. This was the United Steelworkers, and it was, I think it was somehow associated with the Teamsters, but it was that part of it, at least the experience I had, they were crooked. So, but I started really thinking, what do I really want to do? What is really going to make me more happy? And when I cleaned carpet, one of the places we cleaned was a Ford store. And I remember pulling the carpet cleaning van into the parking lot when they were supposed to close, like at 9 o'clock at night. And I would pull the van in, waiting to make sure everybody's out. And I would watch these guys walk out of the dealership like laughing and smoking cigarettes. And back then, I mean, you could even smoke in buildings. The first dealership I hired onto, there was ashtrays on the table where you could smoke. Yes, I smoked cigarettes back then. It's crazy. But anyway, so I thought to myself that being in sales is what I wanted to do, but I knew like it would be difficult to just jump right into car sales, at least in my mind, is what I thought. So I thought I would sell electronics, and that's ultimately what I did. I decided that I would get into a big, let me find a big placenta that does something that I'm kind of into in electronics. Like, I liked music, and I was into, like, back then we had VCRs, you know, before DVDs even, way before internet. Life was just so different, guys. I can't tell you how different it was. It's just changed a lot, but anyway, that's what I did. I got into sales. I think you know the rest is history. I got into that. Then I went into cars, and I The second week was amazing. First month was awesome. Second month was great. Third month was kind of strange. Fourth month, I was starting to feel the pain. By the fifth month, I knew I could not just not do anything. I couldn't just be a retired guy sitting around reading books and looking out the window and walking my dogs and mowing my yard and all the things that I did. And it wasn't like I had billions of dollars. I retired with, I had 2 rental properties that were paid for, that would bring me an income. And I had money that was making money. But the bulk of the money that I had making money was untouchable because it's in an IRA or a 401k. I could touch it, but there's a massive penalty. I mean, you're going to lose probably a total of 40% of it if you just took the money. So if you took $1,000, you're going to pay like $400 in fees and taxes. So you really only get $600. That's the example of how bad it is to take that money early. You can't. And those penalties are there to keep you from it, so you don't do something silly like cash in. So the point is, I had money saved that was liquid cash, like in the bank, like in my checking and savings account. I was comfortable. I could pay my groceries, I could pay my utilities, and I had enough that I felt that I could live off of until I got to be 59 and a half, where I could then take that money without the penalties. At that point, I could just take a little bit off each month and put that with my rent money and any of like the other non-penalty money that I could have growing for me. All of that just created enough income that I could live. But like, I started to think, things that, what if my house needs a roof? I'm like, that's going to be like $15,000. I'm like, oh, that's going to sting. That's going to hurt. Well, these thoughts started going through my head, like, do I have enough money? And so I started having a little bit of anxiety about having enough money. But at the same time, I knew that just sitting around wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted to have a purpose. And so I'm telling you this because I spent 20 years of my life wanting to be retired. I didn't know what I was really going to do in retirement. I just didn't want to work anymore. I had worked so much, I just did not want to keep working. I wanted it to stop. I felt I had paid my dues. So let's do the math. Years. 31 years I worked. Now, I graduated high school in 1990. So that's 29 years that I worked probably at least 60 hours a week. That was what I did. I outworked everybody I knew. That is how I did good in sales. That is how I got into management. I had a servant's mindset. I knew in my heart, like, the only way I was going to get through it without an education was just through raw determination and a good attitude and being good to people and being a good servant, good to my employees, good to my customers, good to my bosses, good to strangers, good to people I met at restaurants. you can have all the rectangles. It isn't that much to ask. It's hell. Think about the guys that go in the military. I've got two friends that live on military pensions, $4,800 a month. It's tax free. They get tons of free health care for the rest of their life. And that's all they have to give 20 years. You give 20 years to the military, and you can have all of this. All of it is yours. It isn't that hard. Life is not that bad of a deal. You know, I think all the people out there complaining, you know, criticizing America, criticizing capitalism. Look, we are creatures. We are humans. We have an unbelievably difficult history that got us here to these modern day conveniences of technology and heat and air conditioning and plumbing indoors and running water and toilets to flush. I mean, electricity. We have a glorious life, and it's the easiest life that any of us have ever had, that any humans in the history of mankind have ever had. You think Julius Caesar was more comfortable than me? Not a chance. My life is 1,000 times better than Julius Caesar's. Now, maybe he had harems of women, you know, but there may have been things that were, maybe the hedonistic side of his life was better than mine. But when it comes to living standards and health standards and comfort standards and intelligence and knowledge standards, we know more than the smartest people back then. Now, they had like philosophical minds, because if you think about it, like, what if all you had to do, you had to hunt for food, and you were always, you know, if you had to hunt for food, if you had to be hungry a lot, you know, I think even back like Socrates, Aristotle time frame, they felt hunger. There were times they were hungry, and food was not as easy to come by. I'm not saying some people had glorious lives that never missed a meal, but obesity was not a problem back then. Can we at least agree on that? I know I'll get pushback on some of the dumbest things, but that's why I should stay out of the comment section, but I digress. The point is, life is pretty darn fair. It's hard, but it's fair. So, here's why. Because now, from 2019 to 2024, I probably made as much money as I made then. And it was unexpected. So some things, life throws you curveballs. You know, you don't know where your life's going to end up. There are going to be surprises. You can do everything you want to try to plan this thing out and think you got this all figured out. But I don't think so. There are going to be things that happen that you just can't even imagine are going to cross your path. But if you commit, if you set the right expectations for life and for yourself, and you say, okay, I gotta get this done, here we go. This has been glory, and let me tell you, though I have some challenging times, I believe my best days are ahead of me. I really do. just sit at home and work 18 hours a week. Yeah. Keep watching those videos that are keeping you from getting to work. It's not going to happen. It's like 400,000 kids will be on a basketball court this weekend. Maybe 800,000, maybe 4 million of them. Let's say 800,000 kids, Americans, this weekend on a ball court somewhere practicing shooting hoops, thinking to themselves, I'm going to be in the NBA. And 2,000 of them out of the 800,000 will go. We are far better off now, unless you're 6'5" and you're muscular. Yeah, but you're out there, do it. If you can do it, by all means. But the majority of us should just accept that there are traditional jobs that have to be filled in society. Somebody has got to do them, and they pay well if you do well. There are things you can do. You may go to a trade school and you may find out you like welding. Well, you get damn good at welding because the plan isn't for you to be a damn good welder. The plan is you're a damn good welder because you want to know what it's like to be a damn good welder. You want to know how to do a job that you're going to tell somebody how to do someday, because you want to own the company that offers welding services. And that is how you're going to make a ton of money. You're going to make so much money that you will have your house paid for. You will not have a house payment. You will have cars to drive. It's not that hard, but it's going to take time. Will you get that tomorrow? Heck no. You're going to drive a piece of crap for years, just like I did. You're going to rent an apartment first before you buy a house. You're going to go through the struggles. You're going to maybe skip a couple meals to save a few bucks. You're going to have ramen noodles. You're going to pay those prices that have to be paid. It's temporary pain. You keep your eye on the prize and you set a path. This is not that hard. It's a straight damn line. You just have to math it out. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Pick something. What can you do? What sounds interesting? And if you can't figure it out, just go do something. Go find something you don't like I did. Go to your local steakhouse, go to the McDonald's, go to the convenience store. Take that job for 90 days. You feel that pain of knowing, heck no, this is not what I want to do with my life. Could I do this for 30 years? Heck no, I would die. Then get out and get something better. It's out there. What do? You motivate yourself. You watch positive content. You listen to people that have done it instead of mocking them and doubting them. You just listen and do it. Because unless somebody's trying to sell you something, they are telling it to you from their heart so that you don't have to make the mistakes they made. If you're feeling like you don't have direction, draw your line. Draw your line. When was you born? When will you die? And where are you now? And where do you want to be? Okay, imagine this. Imagine I'm watching this for the first time, and I've been an F-up all my life. I've been just garbage. I was addicted or whatever I was, but I threw my life in the trash. If all of that was just garbage, first victory to create a second victory. And that's what you do. And you focus on your positives. You focus on how far you've come. Focusing on how far you've come versus how far someone else is. That's probably the number one key in life. It's probably been the number one struggle that I dealt with because I was trying so hard. But other people were so much farther than me. And that was difficult for me. It was envy. And I felt like I deserved more because I was giving everything. And I just was like, I would feel the frustration of envy and of feeling like, they were born with rich parents or whatever it was that made them be farther along. Or there was a moment in time where, I'm cleaning while I'm cleaning carpet. The guys that went to college and got college jobs were ahead of me for some time because I was cleaning carpet, went to the factory. They had gotten a college degree. They had gotten out, and now they were making professional wages. But in time, my route took me higher than those professional wages, even doctors and lawyers, because in sales, there is no cap on income. As good as you do is as how much money you can make. When you're paid commission, it's completely different than when you get a salary. If somebody's going to say they're going to pay you $1,000 a week, you're never going to make more than $1,000 a week. That's it, unless you got a side hustle. So, but when you're in sales, yeah, you can make zero if you sell nothing, but that you could also make $100,000 in 1 week if you sold something really big. So it's a game changer for life. I'm not telling you to get into sales, but I'm telling you it's a very lucrative. It's one of the many ways to make a lot of money in this world. And these jobs are going to be there. I don't care about all the doom and gloom. Oh, World War III and this and that. Yeah. Go ahead and wait on it. Go ahead and put your life on hold because you think this is going to happen. It's like people say, they complain about the weather and they complain about traffic. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't change. If you're stuck in traffic, there is nothing you can do to get yourself unstuck. It's there. You can't make it move any faster. Same thing with the weather. If you wake up and it's pouring down rain, you ain't gonna stop it. You can't stop it. You have to deal with it. You have to just suffer through it and do it anyway. You find ways to make everything a positive in your life. That's just what you have to do when you're in this phase. When you start your day with the expectation, this is going to be harder than an MFer, but I'm going to get through it. I'm going to get through it. That's how you start every day. This is going to be hard. But I will endure and I will keep going. That is what we do. That's how we get through it. Then, if it turns out to be a fairly moderate day, guess what? It was a better day than your expectations, and it's great. It's not like you're waking up and saying, I want to be miserable. I want to have an awful day. No. You're prepping yourself for the worst. You are telling yourself you're a soldier and you're capable, and you will endure and get through whatever today brings you. That is how you wake up every day. That is what starts your day with the attitude that you will make it, that you will make good decisions. It will change the way you behave. It will change your attitude. If you're stuck in that victim mindset of, oh, woe is me, I was born poor, my parents broke up, or I don't know who my dad is, whatever it is that you're feeling sorry for yourself about, you can use that as motivation. That's what I did. My dad divorced my mom and went and married a woman that had little kids, and that became his family, and he forgot all about his old family. But you know what I did? it wasn't probably the best thing I could do, but I said, okay, old man, watch this. I will make it my life's mission that I will surpass you in life. Now, I've since rekindled my relationship with my dad, but I had to do it because he wouldn't reach out to me. But I didn't ever want to. That old man is going to die soon. And when he does, I will have no regrets because I said my piece. But I will tell you this, and this is what I know based on my dad's behavior with me. The roles have reversed. He knows that he can never, there's nothing he could give me advice about. Because, and this is not just financial, but my net worth is probably 1,000 times what my dad's is. My dad worked 25 years at General Motors. And he had one of those jobs that just, if you'll work 25 years, we'll give you $4,000 for the rest of your life. It was similar to the military. Those jobs are pretty much gone unless you work for the government. So, but at any rate, I know I keep going on here, but you guys get the point. The point is, you've got to do something. You've got to get to work. You've got to do something that you've got to make good decisions financially. And that's how you're going to get ahead. That's how you're going to get to be an old man like me with a lot of life left in you. And you're really comfortable and secure because you earned it, and you can have pride in it because you did the right things to get there. And when I compare my life, let's say, to Tiger Woods' life, Tiger Woods is close to my age. Yeah, he has a lot bigger house than me. Yeah, he probably has Ferraris and Lamborghinis. He has a jet. But if he walks into Kroger, he probably has to, wear his hat down, or he probably don't even go to Kroger. He probably has somebody go, There's just some beauty in anonymity. And really, once you got so much money, the difference, I don't care. There's no envy. I love that Tiger Woods is loaded. I love that he has his life. I hope Tiger Woods is happy. I wish nothing ill on him, but I don't want to be him. I wouldn't trade him lives, truly. So that is what this level, if you do those things, you'll have that level of pride in who you are as a man. And life will be good. So, I hope you liked this. If anything, I hope it was entertaining. For those of you that are already made, I felt like this was a message that the majority of my channel is young men. If you're not a young man and you listen to this, I'm grateful that you still listen. I'm grateful you're here. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next one.